Hello and welcome to the first episode of Voorhees Now, where we're going to bring the latest from Voorhees culture and beyond. I'm Charlie Eberly.
Hi, I'm Colin Greco, and coming up this episode, Brielle's checking in with local father and son team who traveled to Texas to help out with the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey.
And also, Joe Cafaro and I are taking a look at the Viking football field upgrades. Voorhees Now starts now. Let's start off with the Health Corner, produced by Jackie Breda. She met up with the school nurse to give us some advice on staying healthy. Let's check that out.
We've all heard this before.
Can I go to the nurse?
But when should we really go to the nurse?
As we return to the weekly grind of school, sports, clubs, and homework, students are bound to catch an illness. Today, I'm interviewing one of our school nurses, Mrs. Bauer, to really understand the difference between illness and allergies, how to defend yourself from back-to-school sicknesses, when to go home, and even a new school policy.
We have a new policy this year for sending kids home. We have criteria that need to be met in order for you to go home. You either have a stomach bug where you're vomiting or have diarrhea, fever above 100, flu-like symptoms that might be contagious. So we're not just going to send kids home for not feeling well. We'll let you rest for 30 minutes and try and get you to go back to class. If you decide that you need to go home and you don't meet any of those criteria, it's going to be an unexcused absence. Right now, actually, we're seeing a lot of allergies. The ragweed and the mold and everything are really bad right now, so it's hard to differentiate, when you come to school and you have a cold, if it's allergies or cold. I don't think there is a 100% cure for not getting sick. One of the best things you can do is wash your hands. After you go to the bathroom, make sure you wash your hands with soap and water. With everybody coming back after summer, when you get 1,100 kids in one building, there's going to be germ spreading. So there are colds going around right now. We have had a couple kids with a stomach bug. So again, wash your hands. You don't want that one. Another thing too that we're noticing is when you go back to school, your sleep schedule is completely off, because during the summer you're sleeping in, you get a lot of sleep. Kids are still staying up late, but having to get up really early to get to school, and that can really run you down and make you susceptible to getting sick. So one of the best things besides hand washing and taking care of your germs and not spreading them would be get a good night's sleep, because if you get worn down, you're more susceptible to getting sick. This time of year gets tricky with allergies versus a cold. If you do have a history of seasonal allergies, start taking your medicine, and that way you can decipher whether it's a cold or an allergy. And then as we get further into the winter, cold versus flu. Usually when you have a cold, you don't always have a fever. With the flu, you usually do. Also with the flu, you're more run down and tired, maybe a lack of appetite, more with the flu than with the cold. So if you're sick for a long time and you have a fever, you should definitely go see your doctor. And don't come to school if you have a fever. Take care of yourselves, and if I could offer any information, the biggest thing would get a good night's sleep, eat right, because you can't learn in this environment until you take care of your health first. And we're always here, so if you need us, come see us.
For VHSTV, I'm Jackie Breda.
Thanks, Jackie, and also to the nurses as well. It's definitely some solid advice.
Absolutely. No one wants to get sick, especially with all the upcoming events.
Let's go to Ethan in the VHSTV studio, who's got the info on what you can expect in the segment we're calling the Weekly Grind.
Hey, I'm Ethan Blake, and this is the Weekly Grind. Just a heads up that the homecoming dance will be taking place on Saturday, October 7th from 7 to 10 p.m. Keep listening to the announcements for info on purchasing tickets. Now let's talk about local celebrities. Are you a fan of CBS's Survivor? We've got a local woman who recently appeared and competed in the current season of Survivor. Chrissy Hoffbeck is from right here in Glen Gardner and even has kids who are students at Voorhees. We're hoping to bring you an interview with Miss Hoffbeck in the future. But while the season is ongoing, she's contractually obligated to keep a low profile. You can go check her out on Survivor on Wednesdays on CBS and cheer her on. Good luck, Mrs. Hoffbeck. And finally, if you're looking for some laughs, the Voorhees Football Booster Club is hosting a comedy night tonight. That's Friday, September 29th at the Highbridge Firehouse. The doors are open at 6:30 and the show starts at 8 o'clock. Tickets are $45 at the door and benefits the Vikings football team. And that's all I've got for the Weekly Grind. I'm Ethan Blake, back to you.
Thanks, Ethan. And now that we've got the grind out of the way, that brings us to the feature story, produced by Joe Cafaro and myself. Football season is underway, and the Vikings look great, and our field has never looked better.
Let's check it out.
Me is the new and improved Richard Degnan Field. This past summer, the Voorhees community added new walkways, pavement, sod, and improvement to the bleachers. It sparked our interest, and we wanted to sit down with those who were involved and in charge of the project.
Multiple donations actually, and we were able to scrape off the surface of Richard Degnan Field and put new sod on it. For one thing, there was a ton of weeds on it. It wasn't very good grass growth. It would have taken a lot of effort and spraying to actually get rid of the weeds and put in grass, and then actually have real grass all throughout it. It looked green, but that was the weeds. Also, topographically, there was a lot of ruts and there was a lot of inconsistencies in the crown of it, which made the footing very shaky. The Voorhees Community Athletic Foundation donated the sod and the installation, and they were able to get the services of Mr. V.A. Spatz and Son Heavy Construction. And Mr. Spatz was extremely generous, working on the weekends with his crew, and they did all the excavation work.
You know, so it's kind of what you see now. It looks awesome. Yeah. You know, got different fire companies to pitch in. I'm sure you guys are going to cover that. Different fire companies to pitch in. We had some different things with new ways to get water on the field and change that up, and it just, you can see it now, and I'm sure you guys will do some great shots of this, but it looks great now. Yeah, you know, but it was at one time, people loved playing on this field because it was probably one of the best fields in the conference. And in the fall, when you look in the fall with that tree line, you know, and those trees changing colors and the gorge back behind us, and the field is just, it's a great atmosphere for a football game.
We also want to talk to some players on the football team who are going to be playing on the grass and their thoughts on the new improvements.
I think the new field is very nice. It's definitely a change from last year. There's no hills, no glass. We're excited to play in a field with some grass that's nice and green, long, strong, healthy. It should be a great year.
So there you have it. The new improvements around the field will boost our team's momentum, school spirit, and school morality. Come and get your game sometime. For Voorhees Now, I'm Charlie Eberle.
If you get a chance to check out the Vikes on the beautiful turf, you can check it out at the next home game, which also happens to be homecoming, on October 6th at 7 p.m. versus North Plainfield.
Now let's finish things out with the final story produced by Brielle. She had the fortunate opportunity to talk to his father-son team who felt compelled to go above and beyond and do something for others when they were in need.
From August 25th through September 2nd, Hurricane Harvey caused over $70 billion of damage. Although this terrible event occurred, communities came together to help Houston. Two especially generous people stopped their lives and collected a variety of supplies. Father and son, Joseph and Nick Russo, from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, packed up trucks and drove down to Texas as soon as they could.
You see all these videos on Facebook, you see the destruction down there, you see all the people affected, and as soon as you close Facebook or the news app or whatever you're on, it kind of ends for you. But it kind of didn't sit well with us that, like, those people don't have that option to just end, you know, close it out and be done with it. That's their life they're living now.
You know, we came up with the idea, Nicholas and I, but there were so many people that jumped on board and were willing to help us.
One of the big things we saw in Texas was Houston, big cities like that, they get all the aid. You go a little bit on the outskirts and there's towns that are literally just left. A lot of people want to help and a lot of people need help, and it's just the people that want to help don't have a way to help the people that need it. We're, you know, sort of like a middleman situation. 2 full days down there distributing goods to where they had to go. As far as the devastation though, I mean, it was something that, like, I've never seen. Gas stations and cars totally flooded. Collecting donations right now as we speak at numerous different spots, and then we're gonna bring them together and get a truck and do the same thing for Hurricane Irma in Florida.
Nick Russo just started his own nonprofit organization. American
Way Disaster Relief. It's a nonprofit that we're starting. The ultimate goal is to take donations throughout the year so that when a disaster strikes, you're not scrambling for donations.
The father and son team were looking to help anybody and everybody in Texas. And one family they helped really inspired Nick.
And they were very grateful, and they looked at Nicholas and he said, they thanked Nicholas, and he said, what you're doing is the American way. And that stuck with Nicholas, so that's where the name came from.
The Russos were constantly using social media to show people back at home where donations were going and how they were received.
I think that gives people a more willingness to donate when they can see like the box that they gave me a day before or dropped off at one of the numerous businesses that are taking donations, and then they see it a couple days later, you know, being handed to a family.
People in our community are supporting the Russos each day.
And you know, we decided that we wanted to give to that effort. So here is your official.
When I asked Nick what advice he would give to help others in their community, all he said was to try.
Just try. All you can do is try, and a lot of people appreciate it, especially the people of Texas. They really appreciated it.
Even when tragedy strikes, it's the good that shines through. For VHSTV, I'm Brielle Berrezzini.
Thanks, Brielle, for bringing us that future story, and also to the Russo team for your selflessness.
That's all we got for this week.
Stay tuned for next Friday's episode.
We hope you enjoy what we're doing.
For Voorhees Now,
I'm Colin Greco.
And I'm Charlie Eberly.
Have a great week. Blew it. For Voorhees Now, I'm Colin Greco.
And I'm Charlie Eberly.
Have a great week.
All right.